Alright, what's up YouTube? So I figured today I would go over everything that went into the Jay-Z swap. I know I told you guys a couple of days ago, or like a week ago, that I was going to do this. Just to kind of give you guys like an overall, I guess, price on what everything kind of cost me to get it running and driving and all that. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start. So first off, the Jay-Z itself. I bought it on eBay. It came from a import company in California, and they actually shipped it right to my house. It came with the automatic transmission, which I ended up not using, and it shipped to my door. They delivered on a semi. It cost $1,743. It did not come with the MAF. I had to buy that as well. I'll explain that later. But so yeah, the motor was $1,743. And like I said, I used the auto trans, or I didn't use the auto trans. I used the CD09 that I had in the car previously. And so obviously I didn't have to pay for the transmission, but you can buy them nowadays between like $600 and $1,200. It all depends who you know and where you can find it. And then, so the next thing is the harness. I used a QFab custom harness. I had my Jay-Z harness and my VQ harness sent to QFab in South Carolina, Justin Collins. Some of you may or may not have heard of him, but he does really good work. And the harness cost me just about $500. He did the work in about 2 weeks, and it was back to me. I plugged everything in, and it started up first try. And yeah, so that's the harness. As you can see, it's really clean. He loomed it and everything. Everything looks really nice. But yeah, so that's that. The next thing was the Collins adapter kit. It's used so you can use the CD09 trans on the Jay-Z. It comes with the adapter plate, and it also comes with an aftermarket flywheel that you can use any pretty much VQ clutch kit. The flywheel's like extra big, and it's all CNC machined real nice. The flywheel and the adapter itself, everything bolted up real smooth, the transmission mounted real smooth. Definitely 10 out of 10 would go with them again. So if you guys decide you want to do a Jay-Z swap, they make it for the 1J, the 2J, they make it for LS's, all kinds of stuff like that. And they also make them for the Z32 transmissions, other like various transmissions as well. And the one for this, the one I used, was $974. Like I said, it's really good stuff. Brett Collins, Collins Adapters makes really good parts, so I definitely recommend them. Let's see, so the next thing that kind of go along in that same area is the clutch kit. I ordered a Jim Wolf clutch from Z1, and it cost me $399. And yeah, it's broken in now and everything, and it doesn't slip, it doesn't do anything crazy. It's like I think it's 1200 kg of clamping force. I guess it'd be like a stage 2 clutch, and yeah, no complaints there at all. So that's that. And then the next thing is the throttle cable. This throttle cable is actually for a motorcycle, but I bought it on eBay. It was $20. It comes with all the little nipple pieces so you can put it in your throttle. And I modified my stock throttle pedal for it to work, and I ran the cable, and it works really good. And yeah, that was $20 on eBay. Let's see. I ordered this intercooler on eBay as well. It was actually only $75. It's like a Mishimoto knockoff. It's actually a really nice intercooler. It's huge. It's the biggest one I could find for real cheap. It's been holding like 14 pounds of boost, no problem. And I would also recommend, if you can find one like this again on eBay, go for it. It's better than spending over $200 on a real nice one. I mean, if you got the money, obviously go for it, but I was kind of on a money crunch, so I figured I would go ahead and get this one because it was cheap. And then along with that, the intercooler piping. I believe I paid, I think it was $80 for this 3-inch intercooler piping kit. You know, it didn't really come with many couplers. It only came with straight couplers. It would have been nice for it to come with some 90s and some 45s and things like that. So I actually had to go around and buy some of the other ones. I had to buy this 90, this 2 to 3 inch pipe or coupler right there, a 90 down there, this 90 over here, and yeah, I had to cut some of the pipes and re-flare them, just so everything would work, but it did end up working. The extra couplers cost me $50. I bought them at RPM Performance here in El Paso, and I actually bought one of them at Patterson Performance Parts here in El Paso as well. I'm sure you could probably get them at a local shop if you're not from here, or you can order them online as well. They're pretty cheap. Let's see. So I bought this NGR blow-off valve. It's like a knockoff Grady Type S. It sounds exactly the same, and that cost me $169. And then the pipe I got off eBay, which is it's got a Grady style flange, and that was $12 on eBay. But yeah, so all that worked out pretty well. The transmission mount. So I took my stock transmission mount and I modified it because the transmission got shifted back about 4 inches, and I weld, so it was pretty simple for me to do. It only cost me about $20 to buy the materials, and I got all that knocked out pretty quick. And so like I said, the transmission got shifted back, so to compensate for that, I bought a GK Tech shortened shifter. It's short throw, and it takes the shifter and it moves it up forwards about 4 inches. Normally the shifter would sit like way back here, and now you can see it sits further forward, so it actually sits in the stock hole. Very nice. The lockout is like, it's really nice. It's got the reverse lockout, and just the shifting, it just feels real crisp, and you always know like you're in the gear when you want to be in the gear. There's no really confusion when it comes to that. So I guess next, the drive shaft. I got in touch with Dynamic Drive Lines, and I sent my stock, the carbon fiber drive shaft, to them, and with shipping, and they shortened it to the length I needed. All you have to do is tell them what length you need, and they will come to where you want it, and they will send it back to you. That altogether was only $210 shipped both ways, and I mean, I've already been beating the hell out of the car, and it works no problem. I've not had an issue with it, so I would highly recommend them as well, unless you want to go ahead and get a completely new drive shaft. I just used the stock one and had it shortened because it's carbon fiber, lightweight. I didn't want to, have all this extra stuff laying around, so I figured I'd just use my stock one. And then, so fuel system, I had to get an aftermarket fuel pump. I got the Deechworks 300 fuel pump. It's 320 LPH, and along with that, I had to get the the CJ Motorsports fuel return kit. And those two things together, the pump was $145 on FR Sport, and the CJ Motorsports fuel return was $95, and that's on the CJ Motorsports website. So the VQ, or the Z, being a fuel, it's a returnless fuel system, so I had to get that return kit so I can send the fuel back from the JZ back to the pump. And then along with that, I had to buy the fuel lines, and the fuel lines, I paid like $40. I think I got like 30 feet total, and I just ran all the lines, and then I had to delete the stock fuel pressure regulator, and in order to do that, I had to buy a couple fittings, and the fittings, and also I bought a fuel pressure regulator, and the regulator and the fittings together was about $80. All this stuff you can pretty much buy locally if you have a performance shop near you. They should carry some kind of fuel pressure regulator and some fittings. Otherwise, you can go to like most pressure or like hose stores, and they 9 out of 10 times will have something you can use. Let's see. So I'm using a Mark IV Super Radiator and some electric fans. Due to not having much space between the radiator and the fans, I actually had to trim out a lot of the core support to kind of tuck the radiator inside. The radiator worked out really well, although It's like I said, it's really tight, but there's the hose is really tight right here, but it's not kinked. Eventually I'm going to tube the front end so I can move everything more forward. And then the radiator actually came with the fans. They're just some cheap eBay fans, I would assume, but they do work. But I would highly suggest getting something better than these. I plan on upgrading these very soon. I think these are only like $20 a piece on eBay, but they came with my radiator, so I wasn't too concerned. They're only temporary, so I'm using them for now. Let's see. I had to buy a power steering line. I got it from Suspicious Garage. I used the stock VQ power steering reservoir. I moved it from that side to this side, and I welded this bracket so it would hold it. It's kind of hard to see, but down there's the line that goes from the power steering pump all the way to the rack, and that line was, I believe, $70 on the Suspicious Garage website. So my motor also did not come with a MAF, so I had to buy the MAF, and it's a JZX100 Chaser MAF, and that was also $100, or no, I'm sorry, that was $70 on eBay. And to go with that, like, it didn't come with the piping or the filter. So this pipe is actually part of the intake filter from the VQ, and it happened to work out for me after I cut it and kind of messed with it some. And then I bought the filter just from AutoZone. It was like $30. And let's see, I had to buy a 2JZ starter. The 1JZ starter does not work. It's a little bit different. So you have to get the 2JZ starter if you're using the Collins kit, and that was $180, and that was with a core charge. So without the core charge, it would have been $140, but I didn't have a core to give because it's not a 2JZ starter. And yeah, so that was $180. Starts and everything like that, so it's good. Let's see. And then other little things. That pretty much wraps up the big stuff. I already mentioned the fuel lines. I had to buy oil and like transmission fluid, and I think those together were like $80. And then let's see, I also bought an AEM wideband. It's the X Series UEGO gauge, and that was $190 locally. I think you can get them for about the same price online. Yeah, so that pretty much takes care of everything that went into this swap. The car runs great, and I really have no complaints. It makes quite a bit more power than the VQ did, and I would highly recommend doing it. I'm sure some of you are already thinking of doing it, and if you have questions or concerns or anything like that, feel free to send me a message or comment on our video. And yeah, so I guess real quick, I'll just start it up for you guys so you can hear it, and yeah. Because of the fans, without the fans on, it's real quiet. But I have it set to a switch, so they just turn on whenever I want them to turn on. But it runs great. I built the exhaust myself. Yeah, give you a little couple of revs real quick. The only downside to my harness is none of the gauges on the cluster work. But I've got the wideband, I've got my temp gauge, I got a boost gauge down there. I'm still going to get an oil pressure. I'm going to put it right there. I'll probably get a voltage one also and put it down here. This is the switch for my fans and whatnot. I got this turbo timer for free from one of my buddies. I know they're like $60 online. I just happen to know a guy, so he helped me out. But yeah. And as you can see, the turbo timer doing its thing. But yeah, so overall, really happy with everything. And I was actually thinking it was going to cost more than it actually did. I had in my head like, I don't know, like $6,500 or so. But after tallying everything up, it came up to $5,651.41. I might be missing a few things or a few cents here and there. But all said and done, you can do this swap yourself. If you have the knowledge and the time, you can do it for under $6,000. You know, a few of those things are extra, and some things you don't need to get running actually, but I would suggest a lot of those. And another thing I forgot to mention is the motor mounts. I had actually bought some Freed Engineering mounts, but I ended up not using them for the simple fact that with the stock JZ mounts, I didn't have to modify my cross member, and or I should say notch it. I did, however, widen out the holes for the mounting holes in the cross member, and I did cut one of the studs off of each side of the stock 1J mounts. But with that said, it fit perfectly, and you can kind of see maybe down here, it fits perfectly between the cross member and the sway bar, and I'm super happy with it. But yeah, that kind of takes care of just about everything. Like I said, small little things here and there that, you know, might that I might have missed or something like that. But if you guys have any questions, you know, comments, whatever, leave them on the video, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And yeah, so thanks again, guys. Like this video, comment, subscribe, share. You know, show your buddies. Maybe they want to do a JZ swap, or they're, you know, into this kind of stuff. So just let us know. Have a good one.